Hello everyone, how are you? I'm great. Welcome back to Two Shorts, One Story. I'm your host Matthew, and today it is a wonderful day. The weather is immaculate, the snow is melting a little bit, which is great, and it's such a great day that I don't have to turn on my heater, which is awesome. Today, I did not want to talk about the weather, but I actually wanted to talk about my experience with buying a car in Japan. I think I talked a little about this before on episode 5, but I mainly talked about driving experience, not getting a car. So I wanted to talk about that this time in this episode. So, when I first arrived in my placement, I had a rental car, a Suzuki Alto. And I talked about this deeply in episode 5, I think, but this car was not the best. Mainly because it was so compact that the backseat was a literal bench and had absolutely no legroom. So I could only really have one passenger in my car because it was so bad. And because of that, I hated this car. Before I moved to Japan, I knew I wanted to live in Takayama for 3 years, so I wanted to buy my own vehicle to save money. And this need for my own car grew immediately as I was driving my rental car because I deeply loathed it. Around this time, my friend told me that one of his friends was selling their car, which was the exact same model that he had, so he knew it was a good car for me. It was an amazing price. The only thing was that it was in a different prefecture that was about 5 hours away. So I would have to go on a weekday to get the car since the shop would close on the weekend. So I would have to skip a day of work in order to go. And I was prepared to do it. I was ready. I asked my supervisor about it, and we're talking about it with my vice principal, who is from the school I would miss, and he asks, is it a 4-wheel drive? And I texted my friend immediately, hoping that it was a yes. No, it was not 4-wheel drive. So, my supervisor and principal suggested that I don't get the car, and I agreed. So now it's October. I'm still paying monthly for the rental car. I'm upset, and I just want my own car. So I made it my goal to get a car by the end of October. So what did I do? Great question. Basically, I only used one app, and this app is called Car Sensor. It also has a website. On this app or website, I was able to select the price range that I wanted to, pay for the car. Did the car have shaken? How long did it have shaken for? What was the year of the car, etc. Now, for those who don't know, what is shaken? Shaken is basically a car inspection, and every car has to get a car inspection every 2 years. So when you're buying a car, it's better to get a car that has shaken for the longest amount of time, so 2 years, so you don't have to pay for the inspection sooner. So when looking for a car, I wanted to check for shaken, and I also wanted to check for the mileage, if it had any accidents, and the year as well. For mileage, in Japan, usually the mileage for used cars are much lower than ones in Canada. So I looked for cars that were kind of below 1,300 kilometers. For accidents, the car loses value if it has an accident or if it wasn't an accident, which can be good and bad. It's good that for you, it's cheaper, but if you want to sell the car, you're not going to get the best value from it. Also, the year is kind of important because you need to have that take that into consideration to see if it's, going to be old or blah, blah, blah. So once you find the car that you like, you can make appointments to see the car from the company. So what I did is there was information with the phone number, so I just called them, and the first car I saw was a Nissan Cube in Gifu City. So my friend and I drove there, and we looked at it. And I don't quite remember all the things it had, but it was a 2017 model, which is pretty good. The price range was within my budget, and it had Chaken, but only for a year. It had 4-wheel drive, which is good in Takayama, so it was good. The only thing that I didn't quite like about it, or I didn't know, was the transmission. And it had a automatic transmission, but it was CRT, which I can't explain to you. I have no idea what it is. Because I didn't know about this, I asked my dad because I needed his wisdom on buying a car. And he wasn't really keen on the Nissan vehicles or Nissan vehicles that have CRT transmission. And when I was looking at this car, I was like pretty confident that I wanted it, but I was hesitant because of the transmission. It was a beautiful brown color. The interior was nice. It had a nice kind of cool shape. And, but I called my parents about the car because I wanted their advice. And I was a bit frustrated then because I just wanted to buy a car. And my dad was kind of contrasting with my ideas, my opinions. So I just decided to go for lunch with my friend and think about it. And I didn't end up buying the car because I wasn't confident about the transmission. So, yeah. I was a bit bummed, but, after that we went to some onsen and it was a great day overall. And after that, I started looking for cars again because it was approaching the end of October. So I went into super search mode and I ended up finding 2 cars that I liked. So one was a Mitsubishi Ike Wagon and the other was a Daihatsu Tanto. And I might have said what car I got in the 5th episode, but just pretend you forgot if you already know. For suspense. When I got into an accident, which you can listen to in episode 5, I had a loaner car that was an Ike Wagon. And this car was awesome. It had Bluetooth that would connect instantly to my phone, and it was just a really nice drive, and I really liked it. This car had CRT transmission, though, and it had an accident. Not the loaner car, but the car I was looking at. The Daihatsu Tanto, on the other hand, had automatic transmission and no accident. But it was a bit older. It was 2009, and it had 2-wheel drive. I don't remember about the Ike Wagon. So I decided to look at the Daihatsu Tanto first, and I checked the interior and exterior. I checked the wheels. I checked for rust. I checked to see if everything worked, even the horn. Once I finished looking at the interior stuff, I then asked the staff if I was able to test drive it, and they said yeah. And they told me to watch out about the battery because it wasn't that great. And we started driving. So me and my 2 friends who came with me to see the car, we're in the vehicle. I'm driving. I'm just driving around the block. I'm not going too crazy. It drove all right. The engine was kind of loud, and it reminded me of my uncle's truck. At one point, I'm turning the wheel, and it kind of rebounds back, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. So I go to a parking lot, and I park, and my friend's kind of testing the air conditioner, which is a great idea because I didn't test that part. And then the car stops. It stops. So my friends walked to the car shop, which wasn't that far away because we were on our way to go there. And they came with the staff member, and he charges my car with the machine. Then he leaves, and then my car stops again. So this time I called him and told him that the car turned off. And he comes back, and this time he charges the car, and then he stuffs the machine inside so that I can drive. So I drove the car back, and then I had to make a decision. The car was a bit revved up. It wasn't the most shiny vehicle. The battery was awful. I was hesitant again. I wasn't confident, but I agreed to buy the car. What? Why? I knew that I could get the battery and other things replaced. And since this vehicle was on the lower end of my budget, I would have a lot of money left over to get the repairs and other stuff. So I agreed. I did all the administrative stuff, and they shipped my car to Nagoya because that's where Daihatsu is, and they did the repairs, and I had to wait 2 or 3 weeks to pick it up. I don't exactly remember, maybe 3 weeks. Once it was done, we arranged a time for me to go, and I went back to the shop. I went via bus because I couldn't take my car. I paid for the car. I paid for the repairs. I paid for the additions I made, like adding an ETC machine or ETC card reader, and I paid for my license plate. If you have the option to get the license plate at your dealer, I highly recommend it because it's just a hassle. I was deciding not to because I thought I could get it in Takayama, but actually that wasn't the case. So I just called them and said, hey, I would like this license plate. And yeah, good decision overall. And that was all of it. And I got my car. And yeah, I've been driving this car for roughly a month and a bit. So what are my thoughts? Do I like it? Do I hate it? I like it. I like my car. First of all, it's not like the Suzuki Alto at all. It has so much space. All of my friends can fit in my car and they can sit comfortably, which is awesome. And as a gift for myself, because this car doesn't have Bluetooth, I bought myself a cool panel that just sticks on the dash, and I can have Apple CarPlay, so I can listen to music and I can see Google Maps, and it's amazing. If you have an older car, I suggest you get this panel. I can link it in the Instagram and Facebook, if I remember. Now, this car is 2009. Does it have problems? Yes. The main problem right now is because it's wintertime and really cold. When I start the car, it makes kind of an awful high-pitched noise sometimes. And I went to the car shop to look at it, and they said it was because the air conditioner belt was a little loose. But because this problem only happens like sometimes, I just left it. It's also 2-wheel drive. And I thought this wasn't a problem because I thought that other ALT's rental cars were also 2-wheel because they're K cars and they're not that powerful, but actually that wasn't the case. So I just have to drive extra carefully, and I can't really visit any high places with steep hills in the winter. And those are really the only problems I have so far with the car. I like it overall. I think it's a really nice vehicle and I'm very happy. Plus I see like a lot of Tantos in my area, so it must be a good car. And yeah, that's really everything. That's how I bought my car. That's what I did. So I hope this information was helpful for you. If you are looking to buy a car, I wish you all luck in the world, and I hope you can find your dream car. Let me know if you find it, or if you have any questions. I can try and answer it in the comments, Instagram or Facebook. And yeah, that's it for today. So I will see you next time.